Forget trying to keep up with AI. It's moving too fast. It's time to think differently about it. Welcome to the AI Readiness Project, hosted by Kyle Shamim and Ann Murphy. They're here to help you build the mindset to thrive in an AI-driven world and prepare for what's next.
Well, hey, Kyle.
It looped.
Forget trying to keep...
I have a question.
Go on.
I have a question for you, and I bet our audience is curious too. In our new season, are we going to have a new theme song?
We can have a new theme song, unless you have described our theme song as a bop.
It is a bop. I mean, we can't not. We could have a new one that's also a bop.
We could.
Ooh, do I have feedback?
You've got feedback and delay. You've got weird delay
Is
stuff.
Now
you're good.
What should I do?
I don't
know.
know.
Good? Okay.
You're good
right.
now. Your computer seems to do that thing where it freaks out a bit and you get delayed. Anyway, so here we are. We are wrapping up season 0. Now, I want to give a confession to you. I thought we were just doing a podcast, and then at one point you informed me that we were in season 0, and I have never in my life started something counting at 0, and so I did not know we were in season 0 the entire season 0. But now I'm excited to start season 1.
Now it really starts. Now is when it starts.
Can you explain yourself? What is your thinking on season 0?
Well, I figured if we call it season 0, then no one will have set any expectations that it's like a real thing.
So season 0 is an apology for our first season?
The apology tour.
It's the apology tour. Well, that's great. Okay, so this is good. And do you know how many episodes we had in season 0? It was a lot. It was more than 25, right?
It was a lot. Oh yeah. I think it might be 30.
Okay, yeah. So that's a lot. Most podcasts die before 10. I think the average is 9 episodes. So the fact that we did 30 is great. I'm assuming you're kind of like me with our neurospiciness, that my recollection of any conversation we had in those 30 things is essentially gone. So I know that you've got a cheat sheet there where you can remind us who we talked to.
Yes.
But before we dive into talking about like specific guests and things like that, I don't know. Why don't you and I just check in? Like, where are you right now? Like, where are you with AI and life and AI readiness? And you just did the Create conference, which is remarkable. And I just went to TED AI, which was remarkably disappointing. And Vanessa, who was at both of those, did a TikTok today talking about how one was, all about technology and one was about humans, and you were the human with that equation, or you're humans. How are you doing? Where are you 30 episodes in?
I was kind of thinking about things in terms of how I feel about having a podcast 30 episodes later, and like, how do you remember why I have remember how when we started, I was like, oh, that's interesting because I've got the fancy mic, I've got a podcast coach, I've got 15 different brand ideas, all this stuff. But the one thing I didn't have was a fucking podcast.
I do remember that.
I had the podcaster shit and be like, oh, really? You need that? Okay, I'll be right back. I've got that. I've got all the things of a podcast, but I don't have a podcast because I did not feel like, I did not feel like I was worthy of having a podcast. I also recognize now that I had romanticized having a podcast in my brain quite a bit, and that there are podcasts and then there are podcasts, right? Like the people who are friends at the Daily AI Show doing a a morning show every single day, that's different, right? Like that just is totally remarkable. And then there's the people who have like editors and stuff. And then there's people who like just kind of have like, there's what's it called? Our friends at JellyPod, right? Now you can have a podcast that's all AI.
Right.
We're somewhere in the middle, like we're clearly not overproduced, but we're also not just rolling it, right? And while no, this is where we just talked about this. We don't diminish. It's like the Nike
this is
swoosh.
A compliment, right?
Yeah. So we're somewhere in the middle where we don't overthink it, and we have the fabulous support of our team members and friends and colleagues who help with a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So we get to do the fun part of having a podcast. By the way, Kyle, I think that there might be a sound coming from your area.
Might be.
Talk. It's a little bit. Is it echoey?
It might be. Hang on, let's turn this down. How's that? Is that better? You got to talk to see if it's there.
Better. Yeah. Can you hear anything weird on my end?
No.
You talk again.
Hello, hello, hello.
All good? I think it's good, but it was weird. I was like getting both of our voices were coming back to me.
Oh.
Should we start over?
No. We're live.
Just cut this part out?
No, we're live.
We're live right now?
Yeah.
Kyle. I thought we were recording.
No,
oh my God, are there people here?
There were two. There's one now.
All right. Hi, everybody. Okay. As I was saying, we're not too overly produced. But like
that's awesome.
Here's the thing about having a yeah. Go ahead.
Well, no, finish your thought because I have some thoughts.
Well, for me, it was I guess what I'm trying to say is that it was a really big deal to have a podcast, and that I wouldn't have done it if I really still would be trying to get fancier, equipment and never having a podcast if you hadn't said, hey, we should do a podcast. I'm so glad that you did.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm so glad I did too. I think the world of you. It's funny when you were talking about, sort of where we live in the podcast world. In a lot of ways, how I think about this is not as a podcast, but as a conversation. And, if you think about the things that we've done together, GPT for Good, Festivus last year, we're getting ready to do Festivus this year. We've got our communities, which are these independent communities, but we have a lot of overlap. We have a lot of members that are both, or we're in this one and are now in that one, and vice versa. And the thing that I'm most interested in my life right now is having conversations around this stuff. So for me, this podcast actually just feels like an extension of what we're already doing, and what I think is important, right? Because in the AI Salon, we're kicking off this idea of we're calling it the AI Salon Mastermind Practice. But the idea is we want to help people design a daily practice around using AI. And we kicked it off at we had our monthly Salon Presents meeting last night, and we kicked off this idea of a practice. And Liz Miller-Gershfeld, who was kind of her idea, and we've put it into a framework, and she talked about how she does it, and I talked about how I feel like I'm an accidental I have an accidental AI practice. And what I realized last night is, I show up to my AI lives night after night, which is kind of like a practice. But what I realized, it's more like a habit.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a habit where you just do something rotely and a practice where you do something with intention. And I had committed to just showing up, but I'm not necessarily regularly present with what's my intention, what am I trying to accomplish. And I think I started the AI salon in a similar sort of vein where like it just felt important for me to start it. And what you and I were talking about before we went live was this idea of, you said it to me, you said, I think we've created something with these communities that there's something bigger going on here that we don't quite know what it is. And I think there might be something around this where both of our communities, and I think you and I as individuals, have gotten to this place where it's time to shift gears. That we've done the work of birthing these things that we've created, this podcast and Festivus and She Leads and your Create conference, and I'm doing a residency in 2026. Like we're birthing all of these elements, but what they all have in common is people connecting, right?
Yep.
I think that AI Readiness Project 2.0 starts to look like, well, what's our intentionality? Like, what do we want to do, as opposed to just starting these things, just saying, I have an instinct, I should put energy over here. That we actually go, now that we've created these things that have all this energy and are literally changing people's lives, what do we want that to be, and what's our intentionality? And so I think for me, season 1, and I think version 2.0 of our communities and of all these properties we've created, starts to just feel like we've got more clear intentions about what we want, and what we provide, and what maybe it's even what purpose we serve, and what purpose this podcast serves and our community serve. I don't know. I don't have the answer, but it feels like we're in right now we're in this liminal state between what was and 2026 feels like it's like a new beginning. You said that earlier.
Absolutely. For some reason, November and December seem like this liminal phase for me of just, I'm not in 2025 really anymore, because 2025 for me was all about trying all the things. And I did that. And I don't want to throw spaghetti at the wall anymore, because I don't need to. That's not my intention, right? Like, I have already done that part. And now I want to really shape and mold and nurture on the foundation that's already built. That is so incredibly special and unique, and deserves the slower thinking and slower decision making and slightly slower action that we can make now, because we've gone this far so quickly. I mean, 10 months for She Leads AI, 10 months since Festivus last year.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Is that when you kicked off She Leads?
That's when we launched our membership. Yep. On December 26th, 2025.
Well, you've done a hell of a job, because it feels like it's 2 or 3 years old to me. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we
do me a favor. Tell me, share with me, because we're going to do something in 2026 with the salon, with in-person meetings, and we've actually secured a space here in Denver. AI Salon's going to have an actual physical home. We might do one in New York.
What?
Yeah, I'm super excited about it.
When are you going to tell me this?
Well, I haven't quite figured it out yet. It's in place, but I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with it. So once I figure it out, I'll let you know. But you just did Create, right? You just did this Create conference, and you've got your virtual version of it coming up, because a lot of people couldn't come in because of situations. But talk to me about your experience with Create. And I know that there was a lot of bonding and a lot of really special stuff, but just in the context of AI readiness, like, what were the themes what was your experience of to the extent that you could be present to it because you were hosting it, and probably like with your hair on fire. What was your experience of Create? What were some of the themes that came out of that have stuck with you now that you're kind of 2 weeks out from it?
One is, no matter how often we face this thing that you and I try so hard not to bring into our lives and not to bring into other people's lives, everyone has imposter syndrome. And so there's this universal thing that we're tapping into of, and because we have the culture that we have, and it was a very safe space, and everyone had made, quite an effort to get there, people brought that really positive energy to it, but they were still walking through the door thinking that they didn't quite belong.
That everyone else had it more together than they did.
And everyone else.
And every one of them thought that, right?
Every one of them thought that. And I know because I asked, because one of the women who was one of our kind of helped us welcome everybody to Utah is a woman who, Penny Atkins, who runs this $50 million responsible AI center at the University of Utah on behalf of the whole entire state. And she was remarking on how she was a little bit nervous to come here today because she felt like everyone else really understands this whole AI thing. Keep in mind, she's also an academic scholar with many refereed journal articles on the topic. And she's saying, and she wasn't putting on airs or anything. She was genuinely saying, I was kind of nervous coming in here because I figured that everybody else is so much better at this than me, and they know more things than me and all this stuff. And I said, hold on. So, and I asked everybody, did everybody else feel this way when they came in here too, like Penny did? And everyone raised their hand. Every single woman. Yeah. And it's bananas because our group, our people, Kyle, you, me, and all of the people we get to hang around with, we're top tier. We're top tier in the AI world.
Well, we're top tier. And I think to your point, if you ask everyone to a person, with maybe one or two exceptions of, some people who, have healthy egos, I think to a person, they would basically say, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I kind of feel like at this point, we've forgotten more than we've learned, right? Because things are moving so fast. But what I know has stuck with me, what I have absolutely lost is the specific skills of how to use this tool or that tool or that tool. Mm-hmm. But what stuck with me is the kind of nimbleness of I'll figure it out. Like I'll figure it out along the way. Kelly Camp at the when she was talking about her daily practice, she had talked about she started her AI agency the week ChatGPT started. And she said for the first year and a half of that, she was like anxious all the time because she was trying to keep up with everything. And I was encouraging that. I was trying to keep up with everything. I was modeling, like, keep up with all these tools. We'll learn all of them and everything they can do. And I was pretty good at it for a while there. And then it just passed me, right? I'm not worthy. Come on, get over it, said Kevin Clark. That's awesome.
I'm not worthy. Oh, is Kevin here? Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's here. That's awesome. So, but what Kelly was saying is that it took her a while to transition, but she's in this place now where she's kind of got this calm, which is she can now just talk to people about what's going on with them, and she trusts that she knows enough about how to adapt to AI into the situation where she'll figure the AI part out. So she's not feeling that frenetic need to keep up with the tools. She's now kind of settled into, okay, I've got a confidence. I'll deal with that when I need to. But what I can be right now is just listen to the person I'm interacting with. And that to me feels evolutionary. And
Yes.
and I think in our community, like the through line through the people that talked last night about their practice, there was kind of a calm to it, that they're doing their thing, they have an idea, they put it in practice, they've got systems to organize their assets. Like it wasn't this panic to use all the tools, to feed all the tools. So that to me feels maybe that's how we enter 2026, is with a confidence to say, we'll figure the tech stuff out. We just need to
and
figure,
we will.
maybe what it is we need to figure out what we want. And I think this is the intentionality thing, right? What do you want for She Leads? What do I want for the salon? What do we want for ourselves personally?
Yeah.
Figure that out and get clear on that, and then all the other stuff will follow.
You know, when we first started saying it's not about the tools, I was kind of like, yeah, but we really know it's about the tools. Like,
you were just going along with me.
Yeah, like, this is the conceit. This is the conceit of the show or of the month or of the week or whatever. So it took me a while to get there. I think in part because it's really it's very challenging for me to know all the tools. Like I was doing the Kelly Camp thing too. I think we, a bunch of us were in that mode.
Yeah, for sure.
And now there've been enough occasions to figure out what the tool might be that I know now, a couple of years later, that I'll figure out what the tool is.
Yeah. Well, and I think the tools have gotten good enough. Like it really was in the early days, it really was, of these 7 tools, one of them is the best tool, right? And you kind of had to know which one was the one that was the least janky. Right. Now I kind of feel like all of the tools are good to whatever degree. Like, and so like we know that if we need something with analyzing text, there's 6 different things we can go to. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter, especially if you don't know what the hell you're actually what you want out of the project. If you don't know what you want, you really don't even need to be like nerding out about the tools, because you're just going to be chasing shiny objects. It's that thing of, before we start, and I haven't learned enough about the concept of the AI practice, so I'm catching up to where you guys are. But if you think about how a regular practice is, you wouldn't do a training plan is metered out over time. It's not learn everything, do everything, learn all the skills at once, because you would burn out and you would not be able to continue doing it. So this, I think your
body would just reject it. Yeah, that's really good.
Exactly. We were kind of binging. I think we were binging on AI stuff for a little while.
Well, we were binging on learning because so here's another thing. Cindy Kuhn has talked about this. Kelly Camp has talked about this. The things that you and I and everyone in our community, I see Gareth here and Kevin Clark here, the things that we think are just absolutely obvious, that you can sit down at ChatGPT and have it write a LinkedIn post for you. There are still many, 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 many people who don't know that that's possible. So sometimes interacting, with a new client or someone who's new to AI, we don't have to know shit. Like the stuff that we take for granted is just mind blowing to someone who hasn't done anything, right? So I think there's something that part of our role is just being in a calm place and being in a place where we can actually listen to whoever we're talking to and just try to understand where they are, what they want to accomplish, right? And just have the trust that we'll figure this other stuff out.
So I just had a little epiphany that the new brave thing that I'm going to do, that I'm committing to, is that I want to speak to people 100% where they are.
Yeah.
Without the narrative in the back of my mind that says, yeah, but the smart people won't think you're smart if you don't say all the fancy words.
Or if you don't do all the fancy
in reality,
stuff, yeah.
Right. If you don't do it, those smart people, well, guess what? Those people, like our peers are not my clients. We forget that. In my case, all of my clients, not a single one of them would benefit if I went and learned automations. It would not bring them one single benefit to their lives if I went off in a corner and learned how to be the greatest AI video maker. If I had fun doing it or whatever, that's separate. But for me to seek out things just for some kind of like a chip or a notch in my belt or something versus how can I actually be useful to people? That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be.
I think that's huge. I'm not going to say the person's name because I want to respect their privacy, but I know someone, a good friend of mine, who spent many, many years securing a building and creating a building in New York City, and getting an AI supercomputer built, with the intent of helping nonprofits and foundations train their own models on their own data.
Oh, wow.
Really, really ambitious, really amazing thing. And I talked to him about 6 months ago, and I said, "How's it going?" And he said, he was a little bummed. He was a little depressed. And he said, no one's using my fancy supercomputer, basically, because the foundations and nonprofits, they don't know what training a custom data set is. They're not even using ChatGPT. So They don't even know how to write a grant with ChatGPT. And he's sitting over here on the far end of the spectrum, ready for them to take their data that they've collected for the past 50 years and turn it into remarkable things. They're not even using ChatGPT. So I think to your point about being where people are, I think it's really important because we sit in this weird, unique position of knowing that far goalpost is there today. We can run out there if you're ready for it, but we might just be ready for, can we just make an email easier to write?
Right.
That might be enough for 3 months. Right?
That might be enough for 3 months. Well, and here's how I can prove it.
This is what Kevin Clark said about AI, is a confidence delivery system. I love that.
Confidence delivery system. Yes. So thank you for saying that, Kevin, because I'm so gratified that you said that, because I was talking to somebody about this the other day and I was like, but you don't understand how important it is, particularly with women, to be able to work through an idea in safety, in security, without retribution, with a nobody, with a
or without mansplaining. What Anne meant to say.
What Anne meant to say. And that it gives us in many ways, it's not about, it's like if you could go eat Dots or Junior Mints and get this kind of confidence from that, cool. It just happens to be talking to ChatGPT and working through a problem. Now you have this new kind of confidence. That's not the thing that Sam Altman is out here talking about, or Elon Musk, or all of them. They don't give a shit about that, but my clients do.
Yep.
The people who I work with on a daily basis care that they can practice for a conversation with a donor or for an almost impossible conversation with their boss. That's what matters to people. So I have really struggled between trying to keep up with my peers and also just speak to my clients, my people where they are. And I'm going to go with the latter for a while now.
Yeah, it's good. This thing that Gareth said, I have a friend say to me today who's new to AI, the more I embrace AI, the more I'm thinking differently about how I leverage it.
Yes.
The thing that struck me when I went to TED AI 2 weeks ago, the disappointment there was that what was being celebrated, what was being talked about, what was put on stage was the only real thing of value right now is better algorithms, more math, more science, more chips. That more compute will be the solution. The innovation that's going to happen from someone not using AI at all to transforming their business over the course of a year, working with you, doing stuff that is trivial by today's AI standards. The innovations in business are going to happen at a much more granular level, and probably, if AI compute capacity is up here and current businesses are here, the jump from them to go from here to here is like mind blowing to them. Like that might be a 2x increase in productivity, idea generation, effectiveness, whatever it might be. It might be years or decades until they, if ever, get to what's possible. And so there's a lot of attention and money being spent raising the ceiling when we're just sitting down here on the bottom, where again, the things that we think, are trivial are not trivial to most people coming into the space. And so I think that, you said it, I think that if I think AI readiness, it's when you interact with someone, understand where they are. Meet them where they are. I think that's right.
And I believe that those of us, that's why we're building AI advisors, not agents. Yes. I believe that that's the kind of grounded, generous, and at the end of the day, much more lucrative for people with my skill set. That's the better approach, because there is not a single person who appreciates the smartest person in the room, right? We're always waiting for that person to shut the fuck up, right?
It's true. It's true.
Right? Who likes that person?
Exactly.
Do you want to have a beer with the smartest person in the room? No. You want to have a beer with the person who's like nice and kind and funny, like that person, and not afraid to ask dumb questions. So, and being able to be present for when those things that we think are small, because we've been at it for a little while, when those like awakenings happen for them, and how existential that really is for them to be able to be there and like hear them and be alongside on that part of the journey, I think is where, I don't know. I just think it's a kind of it feels more like a calling than a job, say.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Kevin Clark, who's in the audience right now. We've been putting a kind of product in marketplace for businesses to be able to get up to speed and build internal cohorts and things like that. And he shared a story of framing a way he was talking about AI with someone that we've since used to actually change the name of our offering. So our offering is now it's called Wow AI, right? And the question that he asked was, he was talking to someone in business and said, "Hey, have you ever had a wow moment with AI, at home?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, whatever. I made a kid's book or whatever it is." And he goes, "Have you ever had that wow moment at work?" "Oh no." Like the answer is always, there's no wow moment at work. But there's, if we're just over experimenting or our kid shows us something, we can have a wow moment over here, but that is much harder to discover in the workplace. And why is that? Well, maybe people aren't allowed to use AI, or maybe they're sitting off in the corners just experimenting with it, or maybe everyone's just too focused on efficiency to really discover those wow moments in business, right? And so how do we discover those? And again, I think that's where thoughtful people that can understand where someone is, and then say, "Hey, so what you said you wanted was X, and here's how we would do X. But you know what else is possible? Let me show you this thing over here that might be like one little step over." And you show them that, and they're like, "Wow!" Right? Like, can we provide wow moments? Maybe we become a bridge, because they don't need to jump immediately to the most capable thing. Like they need to understand where they are now and how they kind of level up in an incremental way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And making the space for those increments. Like one of the things that I took for granted the fastest of all of the tools were AI meeting recorders. They came on the scene. I tried every single one of them out. We chose the one we liked, and then we basically, built the rest of our world around recording our conversations. And then everything just started working really well. And I thought that everybody had already had that transition, specifically with meeting recorders. So, but still, all this time later, that's really, people would be happy in working with me if we talked about just meeting recorders for a week.
Yeah.
Like that really would make people feel like they've accomplished something. Coming up with those moments that make people feel that dopamine rush at work, within their work, would be such a gift, because it would mean that we now have a work life that is worthy of wow moments.
Yeah.
Right? How sad is it?
How sad is it? Well, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But
that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Well, I'll tell you one that happened today. So, as you probably know, Brandon within the salon community, he's going to produce Festivus, and he's a producer of my life. He built this custom GPT for people to find food if they get cut off from SNAP benefits. And he talked about it on the live, and he talked about how compassionate it was and things like that. And sort of word got out that he had built this thing. And one of the people that we know, that you and I both know, who's got, big connections with, people in the world, said, "Oh my God, this is amazing. We've got to get word out. We've got to get articles written about this." And he got really excited. And then I was on a call today, and Daisy Thomas was on there, and she was really excited about Brandon's thing. And she said she went into Brandon's tool and was able to create a shopping list for a nutrient-rich 21-day meal plan of food for $125 in his thing. And she said she was blown away that she was able to do it. And it did this really remarkable thing. And it wasn't just food for $100. It was nutrient-rich, nutrient-dense food, right? That would really sustain a family for $125. And what struck me in that was Brandon getting his custom GPT talked about is one thing, but like someone like Daisy knowing that she could go into that and get that kind of result out of it. Most people are going to go in there and not know what to do with the custom GPT. So I feel like there's this whole string of wow moments that can happen from even a simple little thing. Like I took a data source, put it into a custom GPT, and made it compassionate. Well, there's all sorts of ripples that can come out of that if you've got people interacting with it that have got AI readiness. Right? And so I think our roles start to recognize, oh, Anne made this thing. Oh, you know what I could do with that? I could do this, and maybe I could show that to so-and-so. I think making those connections starts to feel like the new, I don't know, some new kind of intentionality. It's not just about learning to build the thing. It's about, now that things are built, like in Content Evolution, we've got these digital advisors, and we're putting together a project that's like, okay, if you're overwhelmed with information, here are the 17 steps that you need to do. That in the middle of it is this thing that we've built, but we're giving them we're sort of spoon feeding them just all sorts of tactical little steps along the way. So they don't have to figure it out. They can just use it.
To learn, what is it for? Are you learning something when you're doing it?
In the system that we're putting together, it's we call it the information overwhelm protocol, where because of AI, right? It used to be if you were an executive, people would give you a PowerPoint, or they'd give you a 4-page report, or whatever they put together. Well, now everyone's giving you 45-page reports that they wrote with ChatGPT. So everyone is inundated with too much information. And so this is a protocol to say, okay, just go gather all the stuff, throw it into Notebook LM, put these 6 prompts in Notebook LM, and that's going to generate this. Now take that, and make your decision. And now, so it's literally, take it into your digital advisor and have them back and forth. And then from there, make your decision. So it's literally just saying, here are how to use a series of tools that feel familiar to what you already do, but really allow you to do it at a much higher level because it's got this AI stuff infused into it. You know?
It's the thing is like, we need that tool to get people to use that tool. There's still something missing, right? You can,
or we need a human. We need a human who's
human,
a little
right?
savvy, enough savviness around AI, and ideally enough business savviness, like you with fundraising, where someone in the room can say, well, here's the challenge I've got, where your brain, half of it clicks in to say, okay, here's what I do in the real world. And then your other half goes, and here's the 6 AI tools I would use to accomplish that, right? Both of those are really important. But the most important thing is that you're actually listening to them and not off in some AI-addled fever dream.
Well, if you think about Brandon's, by the way, I have to get the GPT. I can't remember where I saw. Is it in the salon? The link to the GPT?
Yeah, and it's post snap something. I think if you just go to the GPT store, but it's in the salon, yeah.
Oh, the GPT store. Because here's what I wanted to say about that is, and Brandon being Brandon is so humble, and his first post was, he was like, well, shucks, guys, I don't know very many people, and I just, I don't have a big audience, but I made this thing.
Yeah.
And, this is an important time for people to be able to figure out what the heck. And I was thinking about that. I was like, this GPT is awesome. And people will go and find it, but like, it wouldn't be as good without Brandon. It wouldn't be as good without this nice guy who would literally never hurt a fly, who gives and gives and gives to this community and beyond, that he made this thing and he showed up on TikTok and said, well, shucks, guys, I don't know. I built this thing. Hope it can be useful. If you know someone, tell them about it. And it was just like,
yeah, it's amazing. And to your point, technically what he did was he took a data set, put it in a GPT and wrote a prompt, right? But because he's Brandon, he wrote that prompt in such a way that when someone says, hey, I'm struggling to find food in this city, it writes an empathetic response. Yeah. Because he prompted it to write an empathetic response. Hey, I'm sorry you're going through that. That must be tough. We've got the resources here. We'll help you through it. Like, that part of the experience has nothing to do with the technology. It has everything to do with who Brandon is.
Exactly.
And that he was aware enough of how to use the tools to be able to take that part of his value system and create something that reflected that. That's beautiful, right?
So that's the thing. That's the opposite of what TED AI was for you. TED AI doesn't have any of this. She leads AI.
It celebrated that you could build a custom GPT. It ignored the fact that you might build something with a custom GPT that had heart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they just said that the value is only over here on the technical side. It's like, no. It's over here as well. And the wow moments, that this thing that Kevin said about if you had a wow moment at work, a wow moment, it's a very human moment.
Oh, yeah.
It might be a wow of the technology, but it's a human moment. The wow thing comes from, you get AI to do something that's relevant to you personally. That's what causes the wow. You're like, wow, I know how to do that the other way. I didn't know we could do it this way, right? That's a very personal thing. And that's what was missing at TED AI for me.
Yeah. So I think there are going to be a lot of people who they're going to be doing fun, wow stuff at home, right? All weekend long. And then Monday's going to roll around and they open their laptop and they look at their freaking Copilot and they look at their calendar and they're like, I don't want to do any of this shit anymore. Yeah. Those are the people who, before we hit record, you and I were talking about what does 2026 look like? Yeah. How do we support those people who, if it's their choice or not their choice, are no longer in the type of like employment? Maybe they're just done being an employee forever, but they've always been an employee. The number of things that I had to learn, oh my goodness. And everybody else is going to be starting from square zero.
Well, that's so. So you and I have talked about this before. This is my new kind of passion. Maybe this is part of my intentionality for 2026. You and I, because we're crazy, choose to be entrepreneurs, right? Like you
Yep.
choose to go into the vast unknown of I'm just going to go book a bank of hotel rooms in Salt Lake City, Utah, 9 months out from an event that's never existed before, right? Whatever happened in your childhood. I'm sorry about that. That made me like this. I'm the same way. I'm just like, hey, let's just start a company. So there are people who are naturally entrepreneurial. That's not most people. And even worse for some people is if they've been in a position, where they've been told what to do, they're in a position that's like, we're going to give you instructions of what to do. You're going to do that every day. You don't have to think on your own. Like there are many careers that are just show up for work, punch the clock, do the work. Those are the ones that are going to be the quickest to be automated out. And so those people don't have the innate natural skills to be an entrepreneur, but they may just be out of work. And not only can they, maybe not find a job, their whole sector might be just automated away, right? So there's going to be a lot of people forced into entrepreneurship or solopreneurship. And so how do we provide, I think you and I talked about this earlier. I think for our communities, I personally feel this, I know you do too. What is our responsibility as leaders of these communities to provide resources, infrastructure, training, like emotional support for people that have to go from, I never had to think about what my point of view is on something or what's a problem I want to solve that I want to start a business around. I've never had to think like that. That's got nothing to do with tech. That is a cognitive jujitsu move that a bunch of people are going to be forced into. That's hard stuff.
That's really hard stuff.
Look what Gareth said. Just don't AI your way out of a job. And then he goes.
Gareth is going to tell. Yeah, exactly. Gareth, he's going to tell us. You know what's so perfect, Gareth, is that. So Gareth, I'll DM you after this, but we might have to move you to another weekend. But I want to tell you why this is for the audience as well, not just between me and Gareth. So what's so cool about if we do our 3 interviews that we have set up for Sunday, Kyle, one would be a woman who is Trudy Armand. Her like new branding is she is your income resilience bestie. So her thing is every day, what have you done for your income resilience today? Because none of us, right? If you think you just have your main job and a side hustle, maybe you need a third one, right? Because we're all running around like this. But the juxtaposition of Trudy and Gareth, it's just too perfect.
Gareth
AIing his way out of a job, and her saying, "Here's how all of a sudden you're no longer an employee, and you never have to had to worry about where the paper clips come from." Right. Or whatever you're using.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah.
Question, did you want to talk about some of the people that we've talked to over the course of this season?
Well, we only have 8 minutes left.
We have 8 minutes. So how about if I just say a few names?
Beautiful.
Okay.
Say the name and kind of if there's anything you have there about either what we talked about or what was a highlight from what they said.
Okay. All right. So hold on. Everybody just calm down. All right. So let's see. Well, we had Jennifer Hufnagel. I missed that one. Jennifer is the educator. And she is very strict about people and data privacy and security. Force of nature. Love her.
Force of nature and data privacy and security. One of the things that came up regularly over the course of season 0, the last 30 episodes of this podcast, was the concept of professionalizing AI. That there's playing with it is fun, learning it is fun, but if you're going to do this in a business context, in fact, the call that I took from my co-founder when I was talking to you earlier was around data privacy and things like that. So as you learn to do this, understanding that you've potentially got liability risks, your customer potentially has liability risks, and you should understand what those are, and you should agree with them. Just professionalizing your AI practice that's something we're all going to have to deal with, especially if we're getting paid for it. Back to the financial resilience piece.
Yeah. Speaking of financial resilience, how about, do you remember our conversation with Sid Hargo? He's the beautiful storyteller.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Beautiful storyteller. And like so many people who we get to hang around with, we're catching him right in the middle of like a pivot in his life. And it's been such a delight to watch him do that. And he learned, so he went to Festivus last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Ended up being one of Kimberly Offord's students, learned how to make AI videos, and that just translated into a whole new shift in his life.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Kimberly Offord on, talking about, making beautiful films for Grammy award-winning musicians, and we had Joy Purdy on, was our first guest.
Who was our first.
She was our first guest, and she's another one, and who, she was a 30-year sleep technician who discovered AI filmmaking. And the minute she discovered it, she realized, oh, all my life I've had these stories I've wanted to tell. So it's like she's a person that has literally been waiting her whole life for something to happen technologically that freed up her desire to express herself in a particular way. Like I find that remarkable.
Absolutely.
And those stories are crazy.
Can you imagine, like, for us to be able to learn what was there that now can be liberated? People can say whatever they want about all of the horrible things about AI. I do understand all of that, and I feel all of it, and they're not wrong. And also, the opportunity for us to actually know each other in ways that we have never been able to before, because our ability to communicate had been suppressed and now is less so. The Joy Purdys of the world and this being sleep technicians in a little room in the back of a hospital, they need to be out. Joy's coming out.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Do you remember Sam Swain and Kristen Steele? Kristen was the one who
was
like,
they were great.
Right. So she was very anti, and then we had good conversations about AI, and now she's using AI. We wanted to have some people who were kind of like converts a little bit. Of course, Sunday Williams.
What I appreciated about her is her willingness to be in the conversation and not just be so closed off. We're in a time, because of the politics of the day, where if you have an opposing opinion with someone, it's like, well, then they're awful and you're great. It's just like, right? And with this AI stuff, it can be very polarizing. So to be in a conversation with someone who said, here's what I don't like about it. And the fact that she was willing to be in that conversation and actually hear some of the things it made possible that didn't make all of the stuff she didn't like right. Like all the stuff that she was talking about, we actually agreed, yeah, that's crappy. Yeah. And there's this other way you can think about it. And she was willing to hear that. And I thought that was quite evolved, but it was very refreshing.
And the fact that their business, their whole livelihood is bringing people together, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so introducing AI. Let's talk about a couple more people. Do we have to stop right exactly in 3 minutes?
We don't have to.
Okay. We're adults.
It's our thing.
Okay. So She said, so Sunday said her real tipping point came with generative AI. It changed the trajectory of my life. It was everything. It made problem solving, problem presentation, decoding the different facets of my brain, and stitching it together in a way that was palatable.
What's Sunday's last name again?
Williams.
Sunday Williams, yeah.
She's a special one.
Yeah, she was great. This idea of brain decoding and idea mining, and when you think about AI and computers, like one of the words I hear a lot is accessibility, and I think about people that are blind or people that are deaf. I think there's a whole other layer of accessibility where if you're neurodivergent, or if you maybe haven't had the capacity or the technical skills to be able to articulate ideas really clearly, and now that you can, I think AI as an accessibility tool is not just for handicapped people, right? Or whatever. I don't know what the politically correct term is.
People with disabilities.
Yes, that. Thank you. But I think disabilities are very subtle, right? And
Yeah.
So I get really inspired by people who discover things about themselves that they have never been able to get around, and now they can.
So the people who came on our show who had a use case that they were passionate about, kind of like with Brandon and his Snap. Is it called Snap GPT?
It's Post Snap Advisor or something like that.
Okay, Snap Advisor. Okay, so people coming to the table with a use case that's like from their heart, like we saw when we did GPT for Good. So you remember Lou and Amber Trivedi with they have their company is making I want to say it's like a life/career choice gamified platform so that kids can go through the like what color is your parachute kind of phase of life.
Oh, yeah.
And listen to what Mai said about what's your definition of AI readiness. She said, I take it from a change readiness perspective. We're all on the adoption curve, some early, some waiting to see. Readiness means knowing where you are, then helping others along the curve. We missed the mark with the internet and social media. Let's get this one right. AI readiness is about adopting it yourself and bringing others with you.
Wow. Yeah, that's really good.
She and her besties, they left the company they were working for and created their own.
Yeah. I just got a LinkedIn invite from some friends that are like, we should start an agency. I'm like, yeah, people are going to start doing interesting things. By the way, Brandon's GPT is called Help After Snap.
Oh, Help After Snap. Okay. Help After Snap. Thank you. I don't like it when I can't see the comments and you can. You're keeping all the goodies to yourself here.
Yes, Gareth agrees.
So Vanessa, you know what? I should have asked you who this came from. You will know. So Vanessa said that this is Vanessa Chang, who we all just are in love with her, and we want to see nothing but more of her in 2026. Don't default to the language of AI or nothing. We get to decide. We are the ones that are human-centered. Businesses have power, but they're selling to us. Don't forget your agency in this.
Well, that's square down the pipe of creating a daily practice with AI that we're working on in the salon right now.
Exactly.
Is how do you, as I'm experiencing this with people, and especially people that are resisting AI, one of the common themes is they're treating AI like a competitor, or like something that they need to defend themselves against, as opposed to treating AI like an amplifier. So if you put AI in front of you like it's this thing you have to battle, then you're constantly battling this thing that's smarter than you, and that can't be pleasant. But if you say, I'm leading, I'm going to lead with my ideas, with my values, with my agency, and then I'm going to bring in AI to support that and amplify that. Great. right?
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
that feels right to me.
Well, and the pieces and parts that I'm not reading are all there. I mean, this has come up in almost every single one of these. So like Tam Wynn talked about, start with a problem you already have and try to apply AI to that. Context, da, da, da. You can have a mediocre prompt as long as you feed it the right information. I think of it like she's talking about the intern. What do you need to know about your business to succeed? So it's not about the tool. Not about the tool. I think, by the way, I think we had 31 because we have 31 people here. I'm skipping some because we don't. Yeah, 31. Oh, Mr. K.
Oh yeah, Mr. K. So Mr. K just got his dream job. Did you hear this? Yeah,
No.
he's like the AI advisor for his whole school district. They're like the tech advisor for his whole school. They put him in a position where he can actually affect the change that he was struggling against. So he's super excited about that. Why don't we do this? Why don't we wrap up and tell me what you're most excited about for season 1?
What am I most excited about? I'm excited about learning what our audience wants, needs, and likes from us because, we did our first chunk live like this, and then we did recordings and put it out on the podcast things. And I feel like I don't really know that much about who all is out there, how they're finding us, what their experience is, if we're delivering what they need, if we're redundant, because you and I can go a lot of different directions. So I'm interested in knowing more about who the audience is and again, meeting them where they are.
Yeah, that's good. And for me, the thing I'm excited about, and we'll talk about this as we design the framework for season 1, is the idea of intentionality. That maybe less about are you ready for AI and more like how are you making yourself ready for what you want to do using AI? Some subtle shift that's around what are people passionate about? What are their values? How are they putting that forward? And then how are they using AI to amplify that? That for me is the thing that I'm excited about.
Yeah, same. I think that there's something more about, the intention behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, look at the things that people have made that with the intentions, like with GPT for Good, the tools that we made because people had a passion, the thing that Brandon made because he had a passion.
Yeah.
Nice job, Kyle. I mean, it's for a season 0. It was
listen, we got nowhere to go but up. Just even in binary.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, we kick off season 1 with a special guest, correct? Is Liz our first person?
I totally, yes. Liz Miller-Gershfeld. Liz Miller-Gershfeld. Speaking of intentionality, so the woman who basically is architecting the AI practice in the salon. She's my co-host in the salon, and she's joining us next week live. She's amazing. She's an amazingly thoughtful and intelligent woman, and just has a passion for. It's almost like her passion is figuring out life. Like she hit a wall where she was like not happy in her career. She was just like, this isn't doing it for me anymore. So I'm going to kind of just like blow it up and go into this place of nothingness, but with some intentionality that I want to figure some things out. And she's emerging out of the other side of that as this powerful AI creative producing, powerhouse that's got this amazing career. So she's going to be amazing. I'm super excited about that.
Awesome. Me too. So next time we chat with everybody, it'll be season 1 officially.
It will. That's next week. Thank you, Ann.
Next week.
All right. See y'all later.
Thanks, Kyle.
Bye, everybody.